Valhalla was not a reward, it was a recruitment. The Vikings did not believe a great warrior walked into a golden hall because he had earned his rest. He went because a one-eyed god needed him. Odin is not collecting the brave out of love. He is building an army, and he already knows exactly what it is for. Every man he takes off a battlefield is a soldier drafted for the last day of the world. And the prophecy Odin has already paid for, twice, tells him what happens on that day. He loses. The wolf takes him. His whole army dies around him. That is the offer these people were glad to accept. Tonight, what the Hall of the Slain actually was, who really got in, and why most Vikings were never going there at all. Start with the name. Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain. Not heaven, not paradise, a hall. And to a Norseman, that word meant something exact. The long timber room where a lord fed his warriors, drank with them, and kept them near so that they would fight for him. Valhalla is that, made enormous. The poetic Edda describes the building in a poem called Grímnismál, and none of the details are soft. The rafters are spear shafts. The roof is thatched with golden shields. The benches are strewn with mail coats. In Odin's hall, you sit down on armor. A wolf hangs before the western door. An eagle broods above it. This is a warlord's house, decorated in the only currency he respects. And it is vast. The poem gives a number, 500 doors and 40 more. Through each one, 800 fighting men can walk out shoulder to shoulder on the day the wolf comes. Do the arithmetic the Norse never bothered to do, and Odin's army is 432,000 men. They are fed on a single animal, a boar named Sadimnir, boiled every day in a soot-black cauldron by a cook called Andrimnir, and whole again by evening. The same beast killed and eaten forever. The drink comes from a goat standing on the roof, grazing the branches of a tree. Her name is Heidrun. Her udder fills a vat of clear mead every day, enough for every warrior in the building to drink himself senseless. Endless meat, endless drink. No shortage, no hangover, no end. It sounds like paradise. Keep listening. Here is where the modern version goes wrong. Almost everyone believes the rule is simple. Die with a sword in your hand and the doors open. The sources never say that. The choosing is not done by the dying man. It is done for him. Odin sends the valkyries, and the word itself means choosers of the slain. They pick. Not the bravest, not the best, the ones he wants. And Odin does not even get all of them. In the same poem there is a field called Folkvang, and Freya rules it. Every day, the poem says, Freya chooses half of the slain. Half. Odin takes the other half. The goddess most people file under, love and beauty, takes an equal share of the war dead. And the poem uses two different words for it. Freya chooses hers, Odin simply has the rest. Whether that means she picks first, the poem never says. It just sits there in the exact source everybody quotes for Valhalla and gets left out. Then there is the far bigger number. Most Vikings did not die in battle at all. They died of fever, of childbirth, of accidents, of long winters and old age. They were farmers and fishermen, not raiders. Snorri Sturluson says it plainly. Those who die of sickness and old age go to hell. And hell is not hell. There's no punishment there and no torment. It is a hall, downward and to the north. Cold, gray, quiet, ruled by a giantess. Her name and our word hell grew from the same old root, which is exactly why the two get confused and exactly why they are not the same place. If Snorri has that right, then hell is not the exception. It is where almost everyone went, including, in the end, the most beloved god of them all. Others belong to the sea. Drowned men went to Ran, the goddess who fishes sailors out of the water with a net. When Egil Skallagrimsson lost a son to the water, he wrote that the sea goddess had taken him and that he had no way to fight her. And a great many simply stayed where they were put, in the mound, on the farm, with their weapons and their gold. which, as we saw last week, was not always good news for the people living above them. So what actually happens inside the hall? Every morning, the Einherjar, the lone fighters, take their weapons out into the yard, and they fight. Not a tournament, they kill each other. Vathrodnismal says it without flinching. They choose the slain, they ride from the field, and by evening they are sitting together at peace. Every wound closed, every dead man back on his bench with a cup in his hand, and in the morning, they do it again. Those men deserve an episode of their own, and they will get one. For now, only the point of it. This is not eternal rest, it is eternal training. Because Odin has one problem, and everything he has ever done comes out of it. He hanged himself on the world tree for 9 nights to take the runes. He traded an eye for a single drink from a well. He did all of it to learn how the world ends, and the answer never changes. Ragnarok comes. The wolf kills him, his son avenges him, and the world burns anyway. He cannot stop it. So he does the only thing left to a commander who has read the ending. He takes the best fighters out of every battle on Earth for centuries and drills them every single day, so that when the last morning comes, the gods lose as expensively as it is possible to lose. Valhalla is not a prize for the dead. It is Odin's answer to a prophecy he cannot break. They were people. Of course they were afraid. Of pain, of losing children, of the sea. But their literature treats fear with something close to contempt. And that is the thing that needs explaining. If most of them were bound for a cold gray hall anyway, and the lucky ones were being drafted into a war that ends in defeat, why do these stories almost never show a man begging? The first answer is fate. The Norse believed the length of your life was already fixed, set at the roots of the world tree by 3 women who spin it, and not open to negotiation. Havamal says it with open contempt. The coward believes he will live forever if he keeps out of the fighting, but old age gives him no peace, even when the spears do. Both men die. Only one of them is remembered for the years in between. You can hear it all through the sagas, said with a shrug. Fate must decide. Nobody asked whether you agreed. The second answer matters more, and it has nothing to do with gods at all. Havamal, the sayings of the High One, the closest thing the Norse have to a book of wisdom, puts it in 4 lines that Scandinavians still quote at funerals. Cattle die, kinsmen die, you yourself will die, but one thing never dies, the reputation a man leaves behind him. That is the whole engine. In a world with no records, no portraits, and no promise of a comfortable afterlife for anybody, the only part of you that outlives you is what people say when you are not in the room. Not your soul, your name. So death is not the disaster, dying badly is. Dying in a way that nobody will repeat, in a way your children have to explain quietly. That is the thing worth being afraid of. And that is what is really behind the behavior that baffles people. The joking under fire, the refusal to beg, the man who insists on standing up. It was never a death wish. The same poem says, the lame can ride a horse, the handless can herd, the deaf can fight and be useful, and that even a blind man is better off than a corpse. They loved being alive. They just feared the wrong obituary more than they feared the end of it. One honest warning about all of it. The tidy system, battle dead here, sick dead there, drowned over there, reaches us mostly through Snorri Sturluson, an Icelandic chieftain writing in the 1220s, 2 centuries after Iceland turned Christian. He was a brilliant collector. He was also a man sorting a living religion into neat chapters, for readers who already had one heaven and one hell. The older poems are messier, and the graves are messier still. People were buried with boats, tools, food, animals, as though the journey itself mattered more than the destination. And poems written for real kings put men in Valhalla who never fitted the rule. Haakon the Good was raised a Christian, and the poem composed at his death still has Odin's valkyries riding out to bring him in. The truth is that the Norse afterlife was never one destination with an entry requirement. It was several, believed loosely, all at once. Valhalla is simply the one that made the best poetry. Which is exactly why it is the one that survived. And it never left Norway. There is a Valhalla out in the North Sea right now, an oil field pumping since 1982, named after Odin's hall by men who work that water in winter. But the older idea survived better than the hall did. Norwegians still use a word for what is said about you after you are gone. Ettermæl. 1,000 years later, the same instinct. The part of a person that outlives them is the talking. So, were the Vikings unafraid of death? Not exactly. They were unafraid of the ending. What frightened them was being forgotten, dying in a way that made no story worth telling, or not staying dead at all, which is where we were last week. And Valhalla, the brightest promise in the whole religion, turns out, on close reading, to be the grimmest thing in it. A god who knows he is doomed, filling a hall with men he fully intends to spend. They worked that. They wanted in anyway. Next Wednesday, we go to the god the Vikings actually prayed to, not Odin. Odin was for kings and poets and men who wanted something. The farmer at the edge of the fjord wore a hammer around his neck. The real Thor, and why he is nothing like the one you know. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And this Sunday, the whole story so far, creation to Ragnarok, goes up as one long saga to fall asleep to. It will be waiting on your screen. Until then, I'll see you by the next fire.